Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. We are back here for TTC. Obviously, we are not doing the usual. This isn't obviously the start of the calendar season. This is the start of the qualifiers. We have more than, well, in this case, more than 9 teams who want to qualify. We have a total of 14 teams here tonight trying to qualify for the main show, which obviously starts in due course. But here we are, obviously, for the qualifying session, the first lobby of 3, and we have the first 4 teams here ready and waiting to see if they can make the main show. So, simple thing, we'll just quickly go through what obviously we're going to be expecting. Obviously, ignore the part where it says there's going to be a race, because there is not going to be a race. It is simply going to be an 18-minute short qualifying session for each of these teams. The 2 best times, obviously clean times, in this case from each respective driver, will be added. Whether or not they're added together or an average is taken, I don't know which way they're doing it. Either way, the best 9 overall will join SCI, who automatically qualify for the main show, which, like I said, starts in due course. We'll join them. So, like I said, 4 teams here in this first lobby. Obviously, the teams got to choose which cars they wish to be. Each driver has to use the same car within their respective team. So, like I said, we had the first 4 teams here in, well, in fact, we had the first 4 teams, but I will run through the whole 14 teams before we just about get started as to who's going to be taking part. So we have FGE, SET, TRT, FRT here in the first lobby. In lobby 2, we have IRT, VNT, GSR, AMS, and TF10. And then finally, in the third lobby, which will start in about an hour's time, is ART, XPG, LR, EVR, and BRC. Some of those teams, I will be honest, I have, well, in fact, at least 2 or 3 of them I have not heard of. But either way, it's great to see different teams as well as returning teams here to compete. Well, simple thing is, may the best 9 teams win and get through. But like I said, good evening everybody as we now start and get underway for this first qualifying session. So we have, in this first qualifying session, we have FGE, which will be represented by Callum and Vessel. We have SET, who are a new team, in terms of, I've not heard of at least anyway. They are being represented by Betsky and Newt. We have TRT, who obviously I got to put money on, should get through into this. And we have Christian and Andrea. And then one of the big teams in terms of I expect to be fighting towards the front. It's Quantum, or Lickfuntum, as he was previously. Many names he's had in the past, but we've gone back to the usual Quantum and Max Power. They are obviously, well, like I said, interesting choice of cars here. So we've got Williams, Mercedes, McLaren, and then Kick Sauber, which is an interesting one. So obviously everybody will be on the soft compounded tyres. They can go for as many, well, in this case they're all going to go for the softer allocation, go for 4 attempts to try and set their best clean lap times. Obviously every session will be exactly the same. It will be set to clear. There won't be any differences, and hopefully, well, track conditions should be the same for all of them. There shouldn't be any complaints. So as we get underway, all the drivers should be coming out on track fairly well. In fact, 6 of them are already out onto track. 2 are deciding to wait a little bit. Obviously Austria, as we know, a very short, very quick lap here. What do we expect? Well, I mean, I know who to expect to be towards the top, but stupid things have happened in the past, not just here in TTC, but also in other, well, on previous games actually, of other teams that have not made shows that you expected them to. Will there be any shocks here tonight? Time will tell. We'll find out in the next hour and a bit and see what everyone can and what they can do for us. We will, I've pressed the wrong button next, I'm an absolute dimwit, ride on board with Max Power here for FRT. He will be the first driver to attempt and settle up time. We will actually, just for this one, we will ride on board with Max. Hopefully he does not invalidate. If he does, we'll go on board with the next driver. So here we go, DRS activated, battery being deployed. Here we go for the very first lap of the TTC qualifying session. In towards turn 1, into 4th gear, flicks the car in, and a little tentative, I would like to say there from Max, just through the first corner. They just want to make sure they get a lap time on the board, but nonetheless he's through it either way. Up the hill through turn 2 and into turn 3, heavy braking zone up the hill, can easily lock the front right tyre here. No such issues there though for Max. Gets on the power nicely, DRS open once again, and he uses more of that battery as we come down the hill into 8th gear now, going up to 203 miles an hour for the Kick Sauber as he slides the car into turn 4. Their car complaining a little bit on turning, taking a bit too much speed maybe, but we continue nonetheless now into turn 6 this will be. End of the middle split, and it's a 44.1 there for Max to go through turn 7 and turn 8 on the power here. It's just an accelerating corner, really is turn 8 as we climb the hill once again and then back down into the penultimate corner, turn 9. Easily run wide here. Again, Max using half of the track, I'd like to say. There's plenty more there to give. He might use more of that later on, but it is going to be a 1 minute point 338 to get us started, which is immediately being, well, Retro there half a second down, but Quantum, his teammate, goes 2/10 quicker, and FRT already showing what they can do, as Andrea invalidated his first attempt, which was a 3.2, which would have split the two FRT drivers. I do expect TRT and FRT to go through here. As if, Beetle, you have requested a fact already. Do you have nothing else better to do in this qualifying session than for me to get facts? I mean, I should have expected it. But anyway, I will do it once the first laps have been completed. But here comes Andre's teammate Christian, who is in WR Tier 2. He's in with me, actually, and a very good driver. He actually won at Australia in the first round of the season, and he goes into P2, splits the two FRT boys, and only 400 to 45 thousandths away from Quantum. So if Andre didn't invalidate that lap time, he would have been very close off the first banker laps between TRT and FRT. Callum is the only driver not to set lap time as well as Andrea, but he also invalidated. And so we have 6 times on the board. Betsky, though, with a 1 minute 7.7 is rather interesting. Is he going again is the question. Could well be. Excuse me. And the fact that he's 4/10 up tells me that he is. So I'm afraid, Beetle, you're just going to have to wait that little bit longer for your fact. Any preferences on a fact, Beetle? Or just anything? Either way, was Betsky there going very wide on the exit of turn 4. They're using the curb and more. In fact, actually, I'm very surprised that didn't invalidate his lap time, but nonetheless, he's still going. And it's, well, there we go. He's 2.5 seconds up through that middle split. Apparently purple sector, but I know that that is quite a bit down compared to the likes of what Max and Christian and Quantum would have been doing on their first runs. Is he going to box? The answer is yes. Anything is the answer. Right then, Beetle, so you will get absolutely anything. And I know Quantum up 3.1 banker. You know, he is one of the top Xbox drivers. He is, you know, one of the top pad drivers, obviously, on Xbox as well. I mean, controversial or not, I don't think he's quite got the same pace as to what he had last game. That's just my opinion. I've known Quantum for a long time now. We used to be teammates twice, actually, both in when it was Shizou back in the day, as well as for CRT. Now, that's going back quite a few years. Get out of chat and drive. That's an interesting one, Kieran. I mean, obviously, it's not... Well, I am not driving. I don't need to. Somebody else will be, but I think I do know exactly where you're coming from there and who that might be aimed at. So, let's get Beetle a fact whilst we wait for Max to complete his lap and go for attempt number 2. Obviously, this, like I said, is only a short qualifying session, so at 18 minutes to set their best lap times. And obviously, everyone's done their first runs, are immediately coming back out for the second. It gives drivers at least more than enough time to get 4 runs in, even if they complete 4 valid lap times or even go again, in fact. So, there's plenty of time for them to get a decent attempt on the board. Right, let's find a random fact for Beetle. Let's not. I'm so glad that the points aspect has been increased for this, because I don't think, you know, what was it, 500, 1,000 or whatever it was necessarily enough. But there we go. So, Beetle, your fact is that, did you know a crocodile cannot stick its tongue out? So they are really stringy. Now you've asked for one as well. But there you go. There is your fact, Stringy. You will get your fact once the second runs are done. And Rev, I'm so glad. That's probably... you probably don't agree with me. I'm going to guess that is sarcasm. Unless you do agree with me. But I do honestly think that this is, again, just my opinion. And I am old, so I obviously do talk a lot of nonsense. That his pace has just gone a little bit, not compared to me at least. You've still got 18.5k. Oh, forgot. Right, we need to increase this. I think we need to make it at least 10,000 points to request a fact. Yes, definitely need to. Yeah, inflation certainly has increased. I do agree. We need to. We definitely need to up that. Good to see 46 people already just watching qualifiers. So it's good to have all of you here. Though, if you're in the chat, if you're talking in the chat, get your views in. Who do you think is going to make it through out of these 14 teams? As Max now comes to complete his second attempt, he was half a tenth up through the first two sectors, and it's a 3.2, nearly a tenth and a half found in the end. He stays P3, but he gets closer to his teammate. We have Vessel now coming to the finish line, and he goes stays P4 with a 3.3. He lost a bit of time in that final sector, did the McLaren man. Christian is actually down on his time, but here comes Andrea to complete his lap, and it's a 3.0 there for Andrea. Goes ahead of Quantum. Quantum now coming to the line himself, but he has invalidated and he's going again. So we'll keep an eye on him afterwards. Andre's teammate Christian coming through the final corner. As I said, he is down his lap time by 200. Can he find some time in that final sector? The answer is yes, he can. And TRT now making a 1-2 and go ahead of FRT. Retro player has invalidated. Here comes Betsky, who's on a much improved lap time, and it's a 3.8. Matches his teammate near enough. And there goes Callum now ahead of both of the Williams pairings. So it is basically a 2x2 in formation here, with TRT from FRT, from FGE, and then SET rounding out the top four. Well, essentially they will be the top four. We will actually go back on board with Quantum, who is going again into this middle sector now through turn 6 into 7 and 8, and he's half a tenth up at the moment. Is the FRT man in that lovely green and black kick Sauber. The Mercedes are getting way out of the way. That did not make sense. Getting completely out of the way is what I should have said. But no, that is wide though from Quantum through the final corner, really pushing the car to its limit there. It would have been a 3.0, not enough to get ahead of Andrea, but it's an invalidation, so it is still Andrea and Christian, the top two ahead of Quantum and Max Power. But I do think that these two teams should comfortably get through. I do expect FGE to get through as well. They might need to find another tenth or so at least between them. At least they're so close on time. Only 3/1000 separating the pair of them. So at the moment they're not doing too shabby. So I have now got two facts that I need to find. Joseph, that is an interesting comment. I'm sure that's... yeah. The fact if Kieran's messages can be deleted, then that's something else. I've now got three facts I need to find, for God's sake. This literally may as well not just be a TTC stream. It may as well be a bloody TTC fact-finding stream. Right. Apparently, according to this, these facts on here will make me sound like an absolute genius. So let's see if that is the case. Probably not. But anyway, here we go. As well, Max is already back out onto track with just less than 8 minutes to go, and well, Quantum's gonna have to get a move on actually, to be honest, if he wants to make sure he can get 2 more attempts in. So, fact number 1. Like I said, I've got 3 I need to do. Did you know that the Earth's rotation is constantly changing speed? There you go. It increases by around 1.8 seconds per century, which doesn't sound like a lot, but might make you more dizzy if you can make it to 100 years old. You might not notice the difference, though, I will be brutally honest. Let's find the second interesting fact. Australia is wider than the moon. I'm not going to go into the boring facts of what the diameter they each are, because it does say on here, but Australia is wider than the moon. So if you don't fancy going to the moon to go somewhere, a country or somewhere bigger, or planet, or, you know, star that's bigger, just go to Australia. Although they do have many poisonous animals out there. Not that that will stop me from going, because I do want to go there. But, you know, they've got snakes, spiders, you know, obviously sharks in itself, obviously, in the sea, as Max Power has backed out of this. Obviously didn't like turn 1 there and decided he will go again. So we'll go on board with Vessel here, who for FGE, who will be the next driver to set or attempt to start his next lap and not bugger it up. Not too much of an issue through the first corner. Right, fact number 3. So, did you know that it's illegal to own just 1 guinea pig in Switzerland? So if you ever decided to move to Switzerland, you know, or if you live in Switzerland, you might not know this. You've got to have at least 2 guinea pigs. That is so random. Stringy, you're not having the dimensions. You can sod off. You're going to have to pay me another 1,500 if you want that. So, deal with it. Yes, Joseph, I am aware that this is Austria and not Switzerland. I am fully aware. But I'm just saying, that's the fact that it is. Uh, ASMR Tom 3000. I don't even know what the hell that is. Well, you can unfollow Joseph, but the fact is, I don't own this. I'm just here to do the commentary. So deal with it. So you decided not to make it because your mic somehow is crackling. Which, if it is, fair enough. But nonetheless, that's not what we want to hear. As Andrea, well, we've gone on obviously with Vessel there, who did slightly improve, but Andrea now has gone into the 1 minute 2.8, and that is a completely new benchmark for everyone to try and follow. Betsky has invalidated. He was up on his time, not in the end, but unfortunately did not find the time. Come the end of it, who have we got that's next? So Quantum is the next driver. Coming through the first split, second split now. Only 22,000 up on his PB. Hopefully, that's just greedy Quantum trying to cut the inside of turn 8. That is poor driving. Of all the places you actually invalidate your lap time, it's on the inside of turn 8, but nonetheless, he will have at least one more attempt. How is Max Power getting on, though? His teammate who invalidated here at turn 10 his previous head does not this time, and it's a small improvement there for Max. Goes into the point ones now along with his teammate, but little surprise, I am still a little surprised that FRT are not ahead of TRT. That is just my opinion, but nonetheless, we are still as we are. It is still a 2x2 formation. You can see the gap differences, obviously. You know, from TRT to FRT to FGE and to SET, they are big differences, I will be honest. But as we go on board with Christian here, with 4 minutes remaining in this qualifying session, so he surely will have plenty of time. Caesar, I know you've just tagged me in the... Oh, I can view that. That's, I mean, cool, actually, because I actually was going to do my own not spreadsheet, but notes aspect for all this, and I was actually going to jot them all down, but I don't need to now. Excellent. I now have a link where I can go and see it updated as we speak. That is absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much, Caesar, for saving me to having to do something and I can be lazy. Christian was not happy with his lap, obviously invalidated, so he's now going back into the box, as will Max Power. 3 minutes, just over 3 minutes left to go in this qualifying session, and it is absolutely full mine, mainly because I've been talking about absolute nonsense and people wanting facts. But 52 people watching the stream. Like I said, it's great to see you all, whoever you are, wherever you're watching it from. Thank you very much for watching this qualifying spectacle, shall we say. If you are enjoying the ads as well, then that is fantastic, although I know people won't appreciate it, but at least you're not going to miss lap 1 of a race. That's the main thing, as Quantum is the first driver back out already with less than 3 minutes to go. I presume he's put enough fuel in to ensure if he buggers up, he can go again. Ah, Joseph has pinned the dock sheet. Cool. TRT cut the pit entry. I don't think it really matters here for this qualifying session, if I'm honest. So long as drivers are out of the way of one another, I don't think we care. Just so long as people are out of the way of one another, and yeah, that's all that matters. But here we are with Mr. Quantum, going to probably start his final attempt, and like I said, if he absolutely messes it up. But through the final corner now, here comes the FRT driver, who'll surely want to get a lot closer to Andrea and at least split the TRT drivers. But here we go, through turn 1 now, 4th gear on the entry there. Flicks it out on the exit, DRS open, battery being used, up deployment, up to the hill now. What does he get to? Around about 200 miles an hour before slowly derating a little bit, but he's half a tenth up there. He's gone, oh, as he slides it into turn 3, the car complaining, and all the time that he has surely found he has lost, and yep, he's gone back into non-harvesting that battery, so it's a good thing he got himself out early so he can go again. Callum was also about to start a lap, but he too has backed out, not happy with his turn 1, so those two are going to be recharging. Well, Callum's already recharged, but will be going again, so it will be Christian, currently in P2, behind his teammate TRT, looking good at the moment. But there's still nearly a 3/10 split between their two drivers, but I don't think they'll care too much, especially with that 1 minute 2.8 that Andrea has set. I mean, if it says that in the actual qualifying thing, then fair enough. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not too fussed because the fact is, so long as people are not in the way of each other, then it doesn't really matter. In an actual season aspect, then yes, obviously, that's a different story. But yeah, as Stringy is saying, nobody likes a grass. But here we are with Christian through the first split, 36,000 up on his previous best, and he has no such issues there into the braking zone of turn 3, as now we have DRS open, battery being used into turn 4, using as much of a wide entry as possible, and turns in onto the apex there. Very nicely done there from the TRT man, as we now come into the left-hander, downshifts into 5th gear now, probably back up into 6th very quickly. In fact, not as quick as I thought, actually, but look at that, he's over a 10th up. It's a 43.9 middle split, not quite a purple middle sector. Whether the game is right or not, I do not know. But just 2 more corners to go here for Christian. Flicks the car into that penultimate corner, taking as much speed as he can, downshifts into 5th. Car almost running too wide on the exit, just about keeps it within track limits, and he lost time, unfortunately, as a result of that, but it is an improvement for Christian. He goes into the 1 minute 3 flats. Who is next? It is Vessel, who is a 10th up at the moment. Where can he put that McLaren? He does a 3.1, stays in P5, but it's a much better lap time. Here comes Quantum. Quantum is invalidated once again, so that banker lap that he put in is the best that he can do. Betsky has invalidated. His teammate Retro Player has not invalidated. Through the final corner he comes. Can he improve on that 1 minute 3.8? He can by 0.3 of a second there. Got to some 103.5. Whether that's good enough or not, we'll have to wait and see. Here comes Max Power. He gets into the 102s and he splits the TRT boys. But here comes Andrea, who's invalidated, so he's not going to do any quicker. What can Callum do? He's invalidated. So that is him done. And that already is the first lobby over and done with. And, well, as expected, it was TRT and FRT at the top of the timing sheets, but it's Andrea there with over a 10th ahead of Max Power. And I think it's fair to say at this point, I could probably comfortably say and put money on that TRT will indeed make it through. FRT should really make it through as well, I'd have thought, with those 2 times, even though Quantum did bottle it apart from that first lap. FGE might have to keep an eye over their shoulders. I mean, Callum there, unfortunately, not getting the time that he wanted. Just have to see how the rest of the session goes. And, well, as for SET, again, they're just going to have to wait to see how the other 2 lobbies go and see if they can potentially, you know, get a spot in that top 9. So obviously I don't need to bother going through as to what position these teams in. We know what position they're in. Obviously we will then see and wait for lobby 2 when that gets underway in less than 10 minutes, around about 7 minutes time, if we can go, you know, if we go on time, that is, which I think we should. As to, you know, how the field will shake up. But one thing we can say at least is after the second lobby, you know, we'll have the top 9 teams. Oh, Flame and Skullline, just, I'm not going to say get it on there in the chat, but, you know, obviously, friends. Ooh, friend. I do love seeing the ads. That is absolutely fantastic. Even if it is an ad with Cristiano Ronaldo, that is, I hope there's enough money going into that, but I do expect to be paid for those ads. I will be honest. Now, I will just quickly go off that, and I will join JT in the next lobby. And now I'm not going to do an interval in between. We are going to continue talking because why the hell not? Everyone is a friend. Oh, that's nice. JT, I'm already joining. Don't you worry, buddy. So, after that exciting, if that's the word you want to use, first lobby, Lobby 2 is obviously being set up, and these are the 5. We have 5 teams in this second lobby, so these are the 5 teams representing in this second lobby. So we have IRT, VNT, GSR, AMS, and TF10. And obviously each of their teams putting their best drivers out there. So for IRT, they're being represented by Steve and Phil. For VNT, you've got Sapala and Lars van der Linden. For GSR, you've got Medal and Justin. For AMS, they have Knight and Jojo. And then for TF10, we have Ward and Misha. Some slightly different cars, actually. I say slightly different cars being used for this lobby. We've got the same 4 cars being used again, but being joined this time by the Alpine, which TF10 will be using. And actually, we've got different. Interesting. Just checking what lobby three are going to be using. Some interesting choices in there. Callum, I can see in the TTC chat, um, not happy with his time there, saying that he had 2 tenths in that lap time. At least could have done a point two. But that's what you get, Callum, for being a track extending or corner cutting little bitch. So unfortunately, you're just gonna have to deal with it, I'm afraid, my friend. Oh, and now we've got Mateo and Wards in the chat. Obviously, the exclamation marks are really, really coming in here, which is necessary. I don't know. Who cares? Either way. So, whilst we sit and wait, obviously we do have the F in real life F1. We do obviously have the break at the moment, which I think. I mean, why did we have a big break between Silverstone and Spa? I do not know. Anyway, it's a 3-week break. 9 points separating Lando and Oscar. Be interesting to see how the remaining rounds go. Who will end up out on top? Can Max hold on to P3? I tell you what, I do think Russell has a chance on finishing P3 overall. Callum in chat saying it's time to oil up and let us cook. Well, what sort of oil are we using here? Is it olive oil? Is it virgin oil, or is it a different one altogether? That's the thing. It depends on which one you're going to use. Very interesting. Leave that to my imagination. Well, unfortunately, you're speaking to an older man who doesn't want to be kicked off here. So we'll go with olive oil in that case then. Callum, I think I'm older than you. To be fair, I'm actually guessing. I think I'm older, but to be honest, I don't have a clue. Yeah, exactly. I'm older than you, Callum. I'm 32. So you're to me, with you being 28, you're very young. Well, not very young, but you are young compared to me. I know. You know, good old. We'll say ye old Bobberts is definitely getting on a bit. Anybody wants to buy me a walking stick for Christmas? By all means, you. Yes, Joe, I am an unk, Joe. Yes, it's certainly something that's been coming out is that I am an unk. Now we do have 4.5. No, not even 4.5 teams actually. We have 4 teams here. We are still waiting on. Who are we waiting for? I'm not actually properly looking. Is it IRT that we're waiting on? It is IRT. Ha ha ha. I think, Kieran, if memory serves me right, aren't you like half my age? Or are you actually younger than that? You're not 6. That's certainly one thing. So, well, Grumpy, you're nearly 19. Okay, so not quite half the age then, but you know, if I had fun at puberty, I could have been your dad. I mean, I'd have been a very young dad at that. Let's put it that way. You're 27, Grumpy. You got 6 kids. Fucking hell. Yes, I think I will swear for that one. That is definitely needed. He's been more than busy. Jesus Christ. I don't have any. That's not me saying that I don't. I would like kids. But fuck it. Can you imagine, for those who know me, you know, more than well enough. Let's say, can you imagine a mini Bobberts? That is something that would be well, more than interesting. We'll put it that way. Yeah, Grumpy kind of said, right, we've got one kid, let's have another one as soon as, as soon as his other half has given birth. Is that how it was, Grumpy? Or did you at least leave it a month or two? Yep, Kieran, you're probably not wrong with that. So, IRT now have one driver in here. Phil has decided to join, but we're still waiting on his teammate. And I'm not too sure how much longer we can wait for him, considering, I mean, as long as the next lobby goes at half 8 or close enough, then it's not a problem. But, you know, we've got to do this. He's in now. There we go. But we've got to do this efficiently. We have to go on time. It's the German way. It's even worse than the fact that that Phil at least has got the German flag on there. He will not be happy. Germans like to be on time. If they are late, then oh no. Yes, Flame. I could actually technically could have been a 17-year-old dad if that was the case. But yeah, that's yeah. Thankfully not. Justin is screaming in German. It's reminding me of someone. We won't go into that. Well, actually, they're saying that the person I'm thinking of was technically Austrian, not German. But we are here at the Austrian, we are here at the Red Bull Ring, so kind of works. You and your child. Yes. Yeah, yes, Joseph, that is exactly right. It is his home race, you could technically say. That is, or looks like, a different weather condition setting. Now, time of day definitely does not look right. Let's have a quick look. We're on sunrise. That is not right. So JT has spotted his error. I didn't know, I couldn't tell if that was sunrise or sunset. But either way, as I've now just dropped my controller, everyone needs to hopefully just retire. Managers, if you want to tell your drivers to retire, that would be fantastic, considering the cock-up that JT has made. But anyway. Yes, it is a restart, yes. Obviously, we're not going to be doing this at sunrise because track conditions are going to be completely different. Drivers are deciding that they want to crash into each other, which is inspiring. Okay, as we just stare at the Alpine looking at a Pirelli board, that's great. The problem is, I think, Joseph, that with save settings, it doesn't necessarily work all the time. I think really we should. I mean, it doesn't exactly take long to set up the settings, or at least maybe check them, just to make sure that they are correct, which I'm sure JT will do once we, excuse me, we reload again. I know you are defending, but I'm not defending him because he's not paying me, so I can say whatever the hell I want. Even though I do appreciate JT, and I think he's a great person, obviously. But yes, now I know what you're thinking. Why are we still on sunrise? Obviously, drivers just need to ready up and then retire again, and then hopefully get it to work. But yes, no defending is allowed at this point. Hello, Zach. Good evening to you, buddy. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Oh, if there's jump starts and then there's that. I don't think. Well, no, that it really matters. But yeah, that's an interesting one. So hopefully, if Justin eventually retires, there we go, we can get this moving again. At least it might mean there's less of a delay in between lobbies 2 and lobby 3. But 59 people watching. Like I said, it's great to see all of you watching this qualifying session. Good. I'm glad you're doing all right. I'm glad you're doing good. But there we go, with a 22-second overall time to do all the laps, Justin wins the race. So there you go. That does not mean, though, that they qualify. Now, one thing I haven't done, or mentioned, is predictions for this session. I mean, I think this is going to be a very tight session. You know, you've got VNT up there, obviously, you know, with, you know, two really good drivers. You know, IRT could spring up a surprise. TF10, we know what they can do. You never know what's going to happen. You know, Knight as well is also very good on this game. You know, this could be completely mixed. It might not be a 2x2 as it was for most of the first lobby. Crack Clark is that's an interesting. Hello, Andrea. Were you happy with your qualifying lap time? Wow, Axe F1. Now there's a name I've not seen in a long while. Request a Brett. Oh wow. Well, shall we get some mods on this then? But well, Axe, it's good to see you. How are you? You doing good? You've got six. You can request six more. Well, you're not doing six more. I'd rather you actually did a fact, and I can't believe I'm saying that because I can't. I don't know what to do. I don't know what sort of request a Brett we could do with this one. I suppose, really, IRT still need to pick a car. Jay, we need to. They need to stop. IRT have not picked their cars. Oh no, this could be interesting. This could be interesting. Yeah, not too bad, Axe. Thank you. Yeah, doing all right. Just work as always is absolutely awful. It's a nightmare. But yeah, that's just how it is. You know, it's been a long while since we've seen you around on here. What are you doing with yourself these days? He's just been saving them, Andre. That's what he's been doing. Obviously, you've seen that you're happy with Sector 3, but Sector 1 stunk. Well, either way, you still did a good time. A 2.8 is, you know, is a very good lap time, and there probably wasn't much in that, so I won't worry too much. I do think as well that you guys will comfortably make it through, but I do know as well you want to qualify fastest overall, because obviously in what order that you are in will then decide on what order you pick your cars, as far as I'm aware. Just realised you can actually hear me actually. Oh dear. As for what I was doing. Oh well, never mind. Well, here we go. And yes, that definitely looks more like the settings that it should be. Sun is shining, shadows are there on the track, and here we go for lobby 2. Yeah, no, I get that. I do get that, Axe. So yeah, it's completely understandable. It's a shame, obviously, that we don't see you around here anymore. Obviously, obviously you were a top driver, which is, putting it mildly. But it's still good to see you in the chats, and obviously watching this is good. It's very good. Oh, Joseph spreading gossip there, I see. Or is it truth? Normally that's yeah, other people do that. But anyway, here we go. So it is VNT's Lars van der Linden, who's got himself to the front of the queue, and he will get us going in this second lobby. So obviously we'll see what these guys can do in the remaining 16.5 minutes. Where can they go in relation to the first lobby? Obviously TRT lead the way at the moment from FRT and FGE in third place, and then SET in fourth. So let's see what these guys can do. What sort of bank collapse are we going to expect? Here we go with the first lap here. And like I said, it is Lars van der Linden. So into turn one there, drops to about 96 miles an hour there, was his minimum speed, coming through the middle of the corner, back on the power once again, no such issues there through turn one, up the hill through two, and now into turn three, so 15.6 first sector, not too shabby, in fact not too shabby at all for a first run for the VNT. Man, down the hill we go, DRS open, just about hits 200 miles an hour there, comes down the hill, braking into turn four. Now come through turn 5, which really isn't a corner, but it's classed as a corner. It's the same with turn 2, really. Through turn 6, the first left-hander, now into turn 7 to 44.1. Middlesbrough, oh, the car squirreling a little bit there mid-corner. It looked like the back end was trying to get away from him there. Just about managed to keep it together, but certainly not the ideal line there for Lars van der Linden through turn 9. Now through the final corner, cuts it nicely, goes to the white line on the exit. It's been a decent lap overall here, but it's only a 3.3 to kick us off here. Misha now coming to line. He goes to a 3.0 as a banker lap. That is a great effort there from Misha to get his first flying lap on the board. Sapala there has invalidated. Wards joins his teammate, and it is a TF10 1-2 at the moment. Phil now goes into P3 for IRT. Medal there with a 0.6 in P5. Here comes the first AMS driver of the TV, and it is a 3.5. Now we've got a bit of a wait here. Here comes Phil's teammate. Phil there up in P3 at the moment. What can his teammate do through turn 9? Through the final corner, cuts it nicely. Oh, the back end there complaining. Maybe took too much speed through that final corner into 3.2. He just goes ahead of his teammate. Goes on to into P3. But so there was surely more time there to be found, especially through that final corner. Spalla has invalidated. He's going to be just coming straight back into the pits. Justin and Knight were not happy with their first attempts. They have gone straight back into the pits. So only 7 times on the board for the first runs, and it is Misha with nearly 2 tenths over his teammate Wards, but TF10 looking good at the moment. They've actually, with their 2 lap times, are already ahead of FGE, so I should be in P3 at the moment. Could even be P2 actually. No, it's not quite P2. Just a little bit to go behind FRT. But they are in P3 already after those first initial times. Yes, Misha definitely cooking there on his banker lap. But let's hope he doesn't do what Quantum did and not improve in his next 3 runs. Surely there's some time to be found there. Maybe he can get, join Andrea, get into the 1 minute 2s, and could even go quicker. It's got to go find at least a couple of tenths, but there's plenty of time left. 3 more runs at least to go. As Justin is already back out on track. His teammate there, medal in P7 at the moment in this session. Come on, German femboy, show him. Yeah, okay. It's an interesting one, but here comes Justin now for attempt number 2. We've got a few cars. There's going to be a McLaren and a Kick Sauber leaving the pits. Hopefully they won't get in his way, and we'll realise that he is on, well, he's not on a lap anymore, so it doesn't matter as he extends turn 1 there. And Well, Justin will save that battery and will go again, but not the start that he would have wanted. But there is still plenty of time on the board for him to go again. Now, we did go on board with Lars for his first run, so we'll go on board with Knight for his second attempt. Not set a lap time at the moment, but again, still plenty of time. He can Knight can surely find a good lap time in there. Can probably easily get into the low threes, I think, for a man of his sort of caliber. That's the word I was looking for. Only the last 10 hours. I mean, that's. I don't think that's enough. I think he should have been practicing for the last 24 hours, not had any sleep, and done thousands of laps. Anyway, here goes Knight. Obviously, Lars van der Linden is up there ahead of him. We will keep an eye out, obviously, as he crosses the line as to what he does. But here comes Knight through turn one. No issues there for him. On this second attempt so far, as there's a little bit of lag there going on there for Knight. Hopefully that doesn't put anybody off as we go up the hill. 15.7 first sector, so about 300s down as to what Lars van der Linden did on his first attempt. More lag once again. Knight's connection, a little bit, well, in fact, there's ropey and then there is that. It's jittering as much as... well, I guess somebody with Parkinson's, actually. I suppose, actually, that's probably the only way you can really put it. I know, Kieran, it is interesting. But either way, I mean, it looks like it's stabilised a little bit in this second half of the lap, but that's not saying much. As we go through the penultimate corner, Lars van der Linden goes across the line. He goes into 1 minute 3.1s and gets himself up into P2. Splits the TF10 boys. What does Knight do? It's a 3.3. Goes ahead of his teammate, but only in P6 at the moment. We now have a Williams coming to the line. That was Justin with a 3.5. His teammate Medal has invalidated. We now have one of the TF10 drivers coming to the line. That is Misha, who is going again after he invalidated. Latifi goes into the box, so now it is going to be Sapala, who's come through the final corner there. Didn't look like he looked like he took a bit too much curb on the entry there. Only goes P5 for the time being. These times are a lot closer than they were in the first lobby. Phil is going to go again. He has invalidated. We know Medal has as well. That is Ward's also going to the box, so he's not happy with his lap time. And that is a track extend there from Sebe at the final corner of what would have been a 3 flat. So people... yeah, everyone's sort of struggling on these second runs. Obviously, Lars van der Linden really was the only driver to improve and goes into, like I said, has got himself up into P2. Obviously, he's going again. He is now the slowest driver, but he is up on his current lap time. We'll see if anybody else is going again. Phil is going again, but is slightly down through the first split. Let's see how he is through the second split, and he's found basically that time back and pretty much matched his first 2 sectors. Now, what can you do in this final set? We did see his teammate. In fact, he's going into the pits. He's deciding that he doesn't want to finish that. So let's go on board then with Medal, who is also going into the box. So that kind of leaves Phil's teammate Steve, who has invalidated. So not the great second runs here from everybody in this lobby, at least. Like I said, Lars van der Linden now up into P2, so splits the TF10 drivers. And at least VNT now have 2 solid lap times on the board. As Latifi is already back out on track to go for his third attempt. A little bit early, and, well, just like his teammate's connection, his connection is also a little bit ropey. What is it with AMS's connections here? I mean, can somebody please get them a better Wi-Fi? I mean, is this, I would say, is it Tesco Wi-Fi? But, you know. And yes, Delta, I know I said it, not me. You know, my granddad, bless him, back, you know, when he was around, he did have Parkinson's, but that's how jittery this is. It is absolutely well, appalling, really, these sort of connections. But anyway, here comes Latifi up the hill. Actually is down on his first sector split. Not too much, at least. The McLaren there on the inside getting way out of the way. I've said it again, completely out of the way is what I should have said. But AMS is located in India. I mean, you might not be wrong. Maybe at this rate it is. I mean, at least now, like Knights, it seemed to have stabilised a little bit, but I might have cursed that. But let's see how we go as we come to the end of the middle sector here for Latifi. And, well, kind of reminiscent of what we saw earlier with Phil. Pretty much matched his first two sectors. Hopefully he's got some time to find in this final sector, because of 3.5 is not going to be anywhere near enough, I'd have thought, to help propel them and get them through. And that was very, very close to a track extend at the final corner. Did find some time there. He goes ahead of Justin, but it's only a 3.4. There's got to be an improvement there, surely. Ward has backed off. He's not going to get Lars van Has cut an extended turn 1. So Misha is the furthest drive around on a lap as he exits turn 3 and comes down the hill to turn 4, goes past his teammate of Ward's there, who gets completely out of his way. Braking down the hill, car complaining a little bit there on the exit there for Misha. It looked like it wasn't the most stable on traction, but probably hasn't lost too much time, if any at all. Let's see how he does as we come through turn 6. Down the hill now, and again, only 5,000s down. Purple middle sector, apparently. And once again, kind of like we saw from Quantum, cutting turn 8. Just taking too much of the inside there. It's just lazy. I mean, I know you want to cut the track, but it's just not needed. See who's the furthest to finish in the next lap, and it is indeed Mr. AMS Knight, who's oh my word. Well, there we go. He's now got himself up into P2 with a 3 flat, but oh my, that connection. I mean, if we see that in the actual sessions, I think he'll be getting told to leave. Here comes Phil now to the line, and he goes ahead of Wards into P4 with a 3.1. His teammate is on a lap. He's actually backed off his 3.5 seconds down. Never mind. Is that Medal coming to the line? It is indeed Medal. He is not improving, though, at the moment. Does in the end, it's a 3.5. And goes just over a 10th quicker, but he's going to have to find more time. Sapala is going again. We now have the second Mercedes of Steve coming to the line. How is his? He's going again, actually. He's nearly 6 seconds down, so we'll keep an eye on him. Wards has invalidated again. So he'll have one more attempt. How's Lars getting on? Lars is 400s up on his current PB, so if he continues as he is, he should probably get ahead of AMS Knight. Indeed, Andrea, I think they need to there. Lars running as close as he can to that white line. Coming to the line now, and it's a 3.102, so it doesn't quite get ahead of AMS now, but it is an improvement at least for the lead VNT driver. But look at that, you've got 4 different teams there in the top 4, but it is still TF10 in this lobby at least who have got the best overall accumulative. There's your word of the day. Or is it cumulative? Either way. They have got the best laps as we speak at the moment. Everybody looking to be, apart from Steve, on an in lap. Now, does he box? The answer is no. He's going to complete his lap because we didn't see what sort of sector times he's on. Let's see if it works. No, it does not. But through the final corner here, oh, that's running wide, and that is his lap, and that is his lap time gone. What would it have been? It would have been a 3.1. He would have gone ahead of his teammate and surely would have booked IRT's place into the main show. But he's going to have to go again and hopefully not extend that final corner again. But Misha is still ahead as we see, but once again, kind of like Quantum did in the first lobby, not improved so far. Surely he can get himself into the 102s. "64 people now watching according to my phone." Again, thank you all very much for coming and watching. I hope that we can get this many people for the actual, for when the season actually starts, which does start next week, obviously. And well, legendary Spa circuit. Who doesn't love Spa? One of the best tracks ever, and I think there is no denying that. If you think differently, then you are just wrong. Less than 3 minutes to go now, though, here in this second lobby. Wards, Medal, and Phil are already out on track, probably thinking if they invalidated or made a mistake, they can go again. But let's see what Wards can do. Again, his quickest time is his banker lap time. We've seen him make a couple of mistakes. We've seen him show the speed that he's got. Let's actually ride on board with him as he starts maybe his final attempt with just over 2 minutes to go. What can the TF10 man do? Can he get close to his teammate and just, consolidate TF10 spots into the main show? Through turn 1 there, no such problem towards them as we got up the hill using that battery. Just about got to 201 miles per hour there, and he's half a tenth up through that first sector. Nicely turns into the apex there of turn 3. That was lovely there from Ward. As we now go flick it to the right hand side to keep the to minimise the distance here, keep the car straight to the left, and now downhill braking into turn 4, rides the curve there on the inside line and the outside there, just about touches the green AstroTurf. This is looking pretty good so far here for Watts. Flicks the car in left, but actually uses the curve there on the inside line. I think that unsettled him ever so slightly, but he's managed to find a 10th. So far so good here for Watts. Doesn't use all of the circuit there on the exit of turn 8 to try and cut it as much as he can, as we've seen other drivers do that, and invalidate. Flicks the car in through the penultimate corner, takes as much speed as he can through the final corner. Oh, it's an invalidation at the final corner of what was a great lap, and it would have been a 2.9 there for Watts. But unfortunately, that final corner invalidation has ruined that, and that is him done. Phil has made a mistake on his lap. He is going again. We now have a Kick Sauber that's coming to line there, both on that lap, so it's neither of them. We do now have which Williams is actually going full pelt. It is Justin. So Justin is going for it. This is his final attempt through the penultimate corner now. Keeps it just about within the white lines. Does not run wide on the exit, but that kept it well within the track limits there. Certainly was playing it cautious, and it's only a half a tenth improvement there for Justin in the end. That is him finished, and hopefully now everything now rests on Medal as to what he can do. We now have McLaren come to line. That is Safala, who has invalidated. He cannot go again. It would have been a 3.211, but it's going to be his 277 is what is going to count. We now have that'll be Misha that's next, who's on and out laps. We have Lars van der Linden, who has also invalidated. He got time to go again. He's got the battery. I can't see how long is left because of the Sector 1 caution. Wards has obviously gone to pit, so that is him done. We now have Phil through the penultimate corner. Can he keep it within the track limits this time? Oh my god, that's a big wobble through the final corner, and all the time he probably had gained has lost. That is him done. Here comes Knight and his dodgy connection through the final lap. What's it going to be? And it's not an improvement. It's a 3.1 in the end for AMS Knight. IRT's second attempt here with C through turn 9. Now, can he keep it within the track limits this time? We saw him run wide on the exit last time round. No such problem this time. What's it going to be? It's a 3-point flat. It's 1,000 slower than Misha. He goes into P2 in this session. Here comes... Latifi's invalidated. That is him done. What can Lars van der Linden do? Answer is absolutely nothing. Sapala's gone again, but he's got nothing in the battery. Is Misha on a lap? The answer is no. Justin is finished, so that is lobby 2 over and done with. It is Misha who is the quickest overall, but again, it's his banker lap that's the quickest, and surely what could have been a much better session. His teammate there down in P6, and do you know what? Overall, I think IRT, indeed, yeah, IRT are the quickest in this second lobby overall. So they've put themselves in a very good position. TF10 will be closely followed in behind them. But I think between those two teams, they should be comfortably through, along with TRT and FRT. Everybody else, I think it is still open. I mean, even VNT, I know they're very close to, with their total lap time to both TF10 and to IRT, but they could still might have to look over their shoulder, only being third in this lobby. But there you have it, and obviously in the end, 1,000th, that's all it was separating Misha and Steve, and then Knight there up in P3, 3 drivers in the 1 minute 3 flats, but no one has got anywhere near Andrea's 1 minute 2.8, and like I said, TRT, I think they can, well, they shouldn't get the party started, they have expected to have qualified, but they can now at least put their feet up and relax because they are through, as will FRT. Obviously, we've only got 5 more teams left to qualify. So the top 3 teams can put their feet up and relax now. And those top 3 teams will be TRT, FRT, and IRT. So, well, in fact, oh, I've gone into game chat. Excellent. Well, it's been an hour, so it's no real surprise. But at least I didn't put anybody off if they were indeed in game chat. But yeah, right. Let us find Mr. JT and let us join lobby 3, which is going to be a tiny little bit late because obviously of the issues we had with this second lobby and his mess up of setting it up. But at least now that we are in the lobby, most drivers are here. So you know, obviously I mentioned about the top three teams that obviously have indeed qualified, which obviously are TRT, FRT, and IRT. But obviously because we've only got 5 teams left in this, so that means positions 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 are not fully guaranteed. So TF10 have also qualified for the main season. So congratulations to TF10 as well. You have indeed qualified. But as for Victoria Esports, False Group Esports, Alien Motorsports, Ground Effects Bet Racing, and Sierra Esports, you're going to have to just keep waiting a little bit longer and see if you make it into the main show. As we still have, obviously, we have our final lobby of these of the 5 teams that we have here. And well, obviously, we've got again some big teams in this one, just like as we have with every single one, but representing in lobby 3. So we have ART, which are being represented by Wookie and Nasland. We have XPG, which are being represented by Brushy Pancake and Flame. We have Legacy Racing, which we have, excuse me, we have Typical and we have Torma. We have EVR, which are being represented by Kevin and Jude. And then finally, we have Bravo Racing Club being represented by Bonnie and Poley. Or Polly, however you want to pronounce it. Either way, that's just how I'm going to say it, so deal with it. So as we, well, here we are. Here's the final person that we're waiting for. That is indeed Brushy Pancake. So obviously we've still got some of the same few cars obviously we've had represented every time, but we do have at least the Hassan Red Bull being represented in this final session. Shall we make sure that JT has set this up correctly? Yep, it's right. At least it's on midday this time, JT, and it's not on not on sunrise. So what do we expect here from this final lobby? I mean, well, each of these teams now know what they have to aim for. I mean, so fifth place being Ventura Esports, their average lap is a 103.190. So basically, if your 2 drivers have a average lap that is quicker than that, then you can guarantee yourself that you are through. But it's so close. I mean, you know, FGE are on a 0.286, AMS are on a 0.291, 5 thousandths separating those 2 teams, and you've got Ground Effects Bet Racing on a 0.354. I don't know if that's going to be quick enough. We'll just have to wait and see. But I mean, obviously, with the likes of Kevin and Typical, probably in particular, the at least that I know of, you know, I expect them to be very quick. You think so, Andre? You think XPG will qualify? That's an interesting comment there. I didn't need to know that, but, well, we do now. In answer to your question, though, does he still crash every 5 seconds? Actually, no, he doesn't. Or at least when I've raced against him in WR this season, for the first 2 races that we've done, he hasn't crashed. But there's still plenty of time for that to happen. And indeed, he could do it in this session. Who knows? But let's see what XPG Flame can indeed do. He is out on track at the moment, but we are going to ride on board with Jude Frederick here, teammate of Kevin, representing EVR. Let's see what he can do through the final corner, sets himself up, and here we go for the beginning of the final lobby to qualify for the main series here for the Premier tier. So here we go, through turn 1, up the hill now through 2, sets himself up, moves the car well over to the left hand side, and as expected it's a low 15.7 to get underway for this first set, to kind of what the average is that we've been expecting from everybody so far. Down the hill now, turns in, uses a lot of curb there on the inside, does Jude there, and indeed on the exit as well. The car a little unsettled, it looked like on the exit, but no real issues, I guess you could say. Misses the curb there on the inside compared to what Wards did, who did take quite a bit of curb, but it's a 44 flat through the middle sector there for Jude. That is very, very competitive, especially of what is his opening banker lap time. 2 corners to go, flicks the car in through turn 9. 1 corner to go. Does he run it all the way out wide? Yes, he does. Full commitment there, even on his banker lap there from Jude. And it's a 3.002 to kick us off. And it's already better than the previous lobby. And, well, so long as Kevin gets a decent lap time in, I think that, well, he's invalidated actually, so that's not going to be the case. As there goes Torma into P2 with a 3.5. Let's see how Brushy Pancake is getting on. The rest of the drivers come across line. Flame there, obviously, like I said, to P3 with a 3.8. Typical and the 3.5 joins his teammate. What does Brushy Pancake do? It's only a 3, but I didn't actually realise he invalidated. I'm going to be honest, I wasn't paying attention. Sorry! As there goes Wookie up into T2 with a 3.3. His teammate has done a 43.8 middle sector. And there's me thinking that Jude's opening banker lap was exceptional. This is on a different level here from Edvin. Through the final corner, what is it going to be? Oh, it's only a 3 flat, a poor final sector, and what probably should have been a 1 minute 2 is only a 3 flat. He's going to be disappointed actually on that bank lap, but at least he knows there is time to find in that final sector. But at the moment, it's a good start here. Excuse me, for AERT. Is anybody gone again? British Pancake has not. Bonnie has indeed gone again. And it's a 3.2 there. Goes into P3's teammates only on a 3.7. But at least that is around about where you'd want to be. Kevin did manage to do a 3.3 on his second attempt on this same set of tyres. So he has got a lap time on the board. And based off that, have EVR already qualified? That is the question. And the answer is no. By 1/1000th of a second, they have not automatically qualified. So that final sector there from Edvin was obviously what let him down. Kevin, obviously, his tyres had to do a second attempt. But surely there's a lot more time there to be found for Kevin, so I can probably say that he'll be able to get that done and should be able to get his team through. Now, I know Jude is back out on track, but let's have an XPG flame lap, because why the hell not? I really do not like that chrome on the frickin' McLaren. It is absolutely disgusting. Maybe you should design, you know, when you've got a Bobberts that's streaming it, and you've got, you know, a number of, you know, excellent drivers from all the different teams, they're the only reasons that you need to tune in. Nothing else needs to be said. But here comes XPG Flame through the first corner. Takes it quite nicely, actually. Did a little bit of sausage curve there in the exit, but shouldn't really have affected him too much. But let's see how he does. Obviously, he's on a 3.8 at the moment. A lot more time to be found. And he's improved through that first split, at least nearly 400s up compared to his first lap. Through turn 3, on the power now, as we come down the hill. Into turn 4 there. Didn't really take a lot of curb. In fact, took no curb at all on the exit there. So there's probably more time there to be found there for Flame if he could carry a little bit more speed. In through, excuse me, turn 6, now turn 7 and turn 8. And he's over a tenth and a half up. So he's going in the right direction at least. He's not spun as well, which is also an improvement. Or what you should expect. Jude did not improve and might be going again. Maybe invalidated somewhere. But here comes Flame through the final corner. That is extending. The car, yeah, got a little unsettled. It was a tenth and a half improvement, but in the end, it was no improvement. How's Torma getting on? Next driver to complete a lap. Through the final corner, flicks the car in. No such problems there for him. Does not run it wide. How much of an improvement is it? It's over a quarter of a second. It's a 3.294. A decent second attempt there, but again, more time needs to be found. Here comes Brushy Pancake. He sets a valid lap time and does a 3.7. Polly now goes ahead of him on a 6.46. His teammate Bonnie does a 2.36. In fact, actually is going now. Clearly wasn't paying attention. Edwin's teammate Wookie now does a 2.06, and that, with that lap time, does mean that ART have now qualified for the main show based off that lap time. So ART have confirmed they are through to the next round. Well, to the main show, actually. But, you know, they're going to keep going. Here comes Edwin now through the final corner. What does he set? And it's not an improvement. It's a 3.1 over a tenth down in the end. As he spins. That is... Now, I'm not sure you are allowed to drive backwards. JT or Caesar, answers please. Yeah, that's that I'm sure is not allowed. That's a is that actually a disqualification? I think that's a disqualification, you know. I think it is. When they've already qualified automatically, and now he goes and does that. Well, anyway, let's go on board with Kevin, who is 2 tenths up on his current lap time. Actually, he lost a little bit in the middle sector there, I think. He's just screwed themselves. I mean, that's them done. They may as well leave. That's it. They're finished. Oh, Kevin, what have you done? That's... Oh, well, that's... Well... What am I finding in this lobby? You know, it's been all right through the first two, and then we get that Edwin is now actually retired or left. I didn't actually pay attention. I didn't see that, but well, I will leave that for other people to decide that. I have my opinion on that, but as far as I'm aware, the rules are the rules, and you're not allowed to drive in the wrong direction. I think Andrea, it's a red card actually, is what we would say. And yes, Geeta, what you missed was Edvin turning round after finishing his lap, driving the wrong way, and which is not allowed. So I think at this point we will wave goodbye to AERT. I might be, you know, we shall wait and see. But anyway, Jude is actually on his lap. We have been on board with him. We have been watching him. I'll be honest though, I've not been paying attention as to what his split times are. I'm still kind of got that in my head as to thinking what the actual hell was that. But here comes Jude through the final corner. Obviously he's up on his lap time. He set a purple minute split. And there we go. It's a 2.885. Just behind Andrea's quickest lap time, which goes back to lobby 1. But it's a very good lap time indeed from Jude there. Ooh, flying with a 3.4 does indeed improve. That's a decent attempt there. Kevin is obviously going to go again. Wookie's about to start his latest attempt. Both Haas drivers are also about to. But here comes Torma now, though. Keeps it within track limits this time through the final corner. And what's it going to be? Oh, does not improve. We now got Brushy Pancake is not improving. He is going to go again. Obviously made a mistake somewhere because he has not invalidated. So it is Kevin is on a lap. His teammate obviously is coming into the pits. So we'll stick on board with his teammate Kevin, who is 4/10 up. Can he go ahead of his teammate? Can he get into the 1 minute point twos? He's just got to keep it clean through his final couple of corners. And yeah, just about there within the final corner. It does keep within track limits. Lost a bit of time actually there through the final split, but it's a 3.0 there for Kevin. And that is the quickest team overall in this qualifying sessions. Oh, Brushy Pancake there. Deciding he wanted to go in the gravel, was just missing his bucket and spade so he can go and make something. Oh, we have another ad. Excellent. But yeah, logic and, you know, common sense is you do not drive the wrong way. I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah, Red Dog, you can say that, but he didn't. I don't think he did it on his first attempt. You know, which was at the start of the session. So, yeah. So there's no excuses. No excuses. Oh my word, typical there, getting close to his teammate. As he goes on his latest adventure here, and he is 3/4 of a tenth up through that first split into the 0.6s there in that first sector. So good start here for typical. He needs to find some pace if he wants to, for he and his team, you know, for Legacy Racing, to getting through to the main show. We have 3 minutes left still here of this qualifying session, this final lobby, and it is still all to play for, at least obviously for those final few places. You know, Legacy Racing should be expected to go in. Typical nearly 3/10 up now through the middle space. This is a much better run here for Typical, who clearly does not have the £8 or however much it is to change his game tag. Obviously, no, he has not been a part of FRT for a little while now, but obviously can't afford to pay to get that change. But what's it going to be? It's a 3.2 at least, so he gets himself and improves there in the end, but maybe just probably needed that a little bit more, that extra tenth. He's going to have to now rely on his teammate of Torma to see what he can do and try and improve. The only other cars out on track at the moment is Flame, who's on an outlap, and then we have the Alpine of Kevin now out on track. So we'll stick on board with teammates typical Torma, see how he does, but it's 10th down through that first split. And in fact, he's backed out. I've just realised he's now back into none. So he's backed out. And will indeed go again. So we will go back on board with Flame. We've been on board with him in one, so no, we won't go on board with Flame because he's just extended turn 1. But he should have enough time to get himself back round again. So, we're typical not on a lap. Torma, not on a lap, and he will be going again, but we've already watched Torma. So is it Kevin? It is indeed Kevin. But we'll go on board with Torma. Let's see what Torma can do. Can he keep it together this time? So he was a 10th down through that first split. Typical is done. That's his qualifying session finished. It's all down to his teammate now to see what he can do. See if he can find that little bit of time. And once again, it's not an improvement in the first sector. Not down as much as the last attempt, but certainly not ideal. He's going to have a very good middle and final split. Excuse me, to see if he can indeed improve. Using a lot of that battery there as we go into turn 6 now. Flicks the car in, and a bit more battery again being used. And he's over a 10th up his Torma through that middle split. It's a good middle sector. As now he uses all of that battery, or as much as he dares, going up the hill, 2 corners to go, flicks the car in, 6th gear, just about keeps it within the track limits there, nicely done there, through the final corner from Torma, again just keeps within track limits. It's been a decent final part of the lap, and it's a 3.1 for Torma. It's a good effort there. Does that get him through? We will have to wait and see. How's Kevin getting on? He's invalidated. That is him done. Brushy Pancake is invalidated, which is not what XPG would have wanted. He's got enough time though to go again. Just has enough time to go again for one final attempt. Jude now coming to the line. He's 800s down on his current 1 minute 2.885. Is there time in this final sector for him to go even quicker again? Yes, there is, and he goes ahead of Andrea. He will take bragging rights as the quickest qualifier as it stands. Bonnie goes into P2 with a 998, and all of a sudden, can they make it? Can they do it? I should have gone on board with Polly. Oh, he's invalidated. Never mind. Never mind. Oh well. Never trust me to go and watch them again. Kevin has invalidated. Flame is done. Brushy Pancake obviously is done. He's become a lawnmower. Is that everybody? I think that is it. It is indeed. That is all. Well, there we go. That is it. The qualifying for TTC for the Premier Tier is over and done with. Everything has been set. All the lap times are now in. I believe everything has been updated. And indeed it has. And indeed it has. So I will now reveal the 9 teams that have indeed qualified. Now, obviously, we will have to wait and see as to what happens with AERT because, you know, going backwards is not ideal. But these are the 9 teams in order from quickest to, obviously, yeah, we're going on from the quickest all the way down. So, so Evolution Racing Team, are the quickest team. In the end, they set an overall average lap time of 1 minute 2.930, followed by TRT with a 1 minute 2.963. Then you have FRT, IRT, ART. Now, obviously, we're going to have to wait and see as to what happens with them regarding that driving backwards aspect. So there's a question mark on that one. TF10, VNT, Legacy Racing, and FGE make it in by 5/1000ths of a second over Alien Motorsports. That's how close it was in the end. However, like I said, we have to wait and see as to what happens with the ART. This will decide whether or not AMS make it in or not, based off obviously Edwin there driving backwards. I know, Beetle. There was actually a split second that with that lap time that came in from Bonnie, you thought, what could Polly do? Or Polly, sorry. They qualified 11th overall. They only needed to find what 400ths of a second, and they would have made it in. Um, but unfortunately, well, the one thing I can say at least, so the teams that have not qualified for definite are Bravo Racing Club, Grand Effects Bet Racing, XPG, and Sierra Esports. Unfortunately, they did not make it in. But like I said, there will be question marks. There will be long discussions as to what happens with ART. But that has been. I'm not bothering to watch this bloody race session. There is no need whatsoever. That has been the TTC qualifiers for the Premier Tier. Obviously, we still have 2 more qualifying sessions to go, which are indeed tomorrow and on Friday. Excuse me. Obviously, that will be for the top tier and as well as for the Artemis tier. So obviously, if you'd like to come in and watch that, then by all means, you're more than welcome to. We would like to see that happen. But at least from the Premier tier, that is it. Just stick around, just wait and see what is going to happen, as I said, with AART and whether AMS make it in or not. But thank you all very much for joining us here tonight. I hope that was certainly interesting to say the least. But from Mr. Bobbity in the box, we will see you next week for round 1 of the TTC season at Spa. It's going to be a blast. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your night.